Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name's Ed and I usually post videos about writing and hopefully my journey to becoming an indie author in 2023. But today I'm coming with something different. I decided to start a podcast, and it's a podcast that focuses on two things: books, both reading and writing, and fiber arts. Um, so I know this is like quite two different things to get together in a podcast, but personally, it just makes sense to me. And I actually got this idea from Nia and her books. She's also an author tuber. I really enjoy her videos and her channel in general. And in a recent video, she mentioned that she also knits. And me being me, I obviously had to ask her what she was knitting and if she could share what she was knitting with us. To which she replied that she wasn't sure if a lot of people would find it interesting. And, I completely understand that. But it got me thinking, like, knitting or crocheting or any other type of fiber art, like, isn't that an amazing hobby that someone who reads would also pick up? Just because it takes a lot of patience. And I feel like the majority of people that don't enjoy reading or writing are people that don't have that much patience for things. And I don't know, it makes sense to me, especially because I watch so many knitting podcasts, and every now and then someone mentions that they're reading this book or that book, and I'm like, oh my god, I also read that book. Or, oh, that one is on my reading list as well. Or, I didn't even know you read. That's such a silly comment to make, though. Like, I didn't even know you read. Like, we went to school. We know how to read. That's not what I meant. Uh so yeah, I just thought, why not? It's not like I had a lot of other ideas for YouTube videos, mainly because I haven't actually been writing that much lately. So I didn't have anything to say on the channel. But at the same time, I didn't want to let it die. Um because I want to focus on this. I want to focus on this YouTube channel. I want to build a community. I I really want to dedicate myself into writing more, and having the YouTube channel actually helped me a lot. And the only reason why I think I'm not writing as much is, well, first of all, because I've been busy with work, and second of all, because I haven't actually been focusing on my YouTube channel. So I definitely should do that more. So, yeah, here we have it, knitting and book related podcast. I'll probably only post podcast episodes like once a month because I'm not the the faster knitter or crochet person. Um, and I actually mean it. Like, I hate when people say that they're slow at crocheting or knitting, and then they go like, "Oh, I only started and finished 3 sweaters last month." Are you kidding me? Like, it takes me 4 months to finish a sweater. 4, not 1. 4 months. So, yeah, I'm a slow knitter. I also go through a lot of periods where I don't actually knit. Like, even though it's one of my hobbies and something that I love doing, the type of person that has periods. Like, I'm someone with a lot of interests: reading, writing, crocheting, knitting, watching series, etc., etc. Um, but sometimes I have periods. Like, I don't do all of these things at once. I sometimes I obsessively knit. Sometimes I obsessively watch TV series or shows. And I mean obsessively as in, I don't know, watching an entire season of Vampire Diaries in a week, I guess. Um, that's the type of person I am. So sometimes I'll only read books for a whole month and I read like 4 books. Then for the following 5 months, I won't read anything. And it happens with knitting, it happens with crochet, it happens with writing, it happens with pretty much everything. Um, so this is one more reason to not have a knitting podcast that often. Just because I feel like I'll probably go out of my knitting obsession in a couple weeks and then the podcast will like die. Or this could be like something sporadic where I just post whenever and whatever I want. I mean, it's my YouTube channel. I can do what I want, right? So, to start off today's topic, I haven't actually thought about what I want to talk about during this episode. I just, I have a general idea. I want to talk about my current whips. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about my current whips, why and how I got into knitting and fiber arts in general, and the books I'm currently reading. Um, but I don't have like a script to follow or any specific topics I want to touch on or anything written down. Actually, I thought about these main topics, and I guess I'm just going to talk and let me babble as much as I want. And I hope you guys don't mind that, and I hope you guys actually enjoy it. Because personally, I love knitting podcasts. I love knit with me videos. I love sitting down and knit as I watch someone also knit at the same time as me. Mostly because I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I feel like knitting and crocheting and fiber arts in general are very social activities. Like, maybe it's because how knitting and crocheting and all that jazz is portrayed. Like, my representation and my idea of knitting or crocheting is those period dramas or movies where you have a bunch of ladies in all those fancy dresses sitting down and they're all knitting or doing embroidery and gossiping at the same time. That's what comes to my mind whenever I think about knitting or crocheting. So, I really miss that. I miss social interaction. I I don't know. I like knitting and feeling like I'm knitting with someone, with a friend, and chatting with them and something like that. Um, so it's like one of my biggest dreams would be to actually have a knitting group, like a group of people that I can crochet and knit with. I'd love that, but personally, I don't think that there's anyone like that in the area. Um, that's fine. I'm I'm okay with the knitting podcasts. I'm just sad that they're so short. Like the other day, this one knitter I watched, Tiffany. If you're into knitting or crocheting, mostly knitting, because she mostly knits. If you're into knitting, you probably know Tiffany. But the other day, she posted a live stream. She hosted a live stream, and that thing is like 2 hours long, and I've watched it like what, 2 times now. I miss the interaction. I need to have someone talking to me while I knit. Sometimes I like to watch series while I knit, but I don't know. I like to have someone talking to me as I knit. I like to have that, I don't know, that experience. So yeah, if you're like me, um, I hope this vlog brings you comfort, because at least for me, it's been far fun so far to just sit down and talk while I knit. Um, so yeah. Now, as to my whips, or what I'm working right now, I'm actually working on a t-shirt. It's a free pattern. I bought this yarn to make a cardigan, but let's just say it wasn't going well. Like, it had a couple mistakes, and I wasn't angry with like a couple of them. I was actually, they were they were like, they bothered me, but they didn't bother me enough as to frog the entire project. So I just kept going with them. But then it got to a point where there were so many little issues, so many flaws and mistakes that I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to frog it. And I decided to knit a scarf with it, which I was almost done with. But then I picked it up and it was super heavy because I knitted it with 2 strands of this yarn. This is a cotton yarn. This is actually a baby yarn. So on itself, it's quite light, but with the 2 strands, and I was doing it in gardener stitch, and it was too heavy. Like, I felt like I'd put the scarf on and my neck would break, that kind of hard. So I decided to frog it, and because it was such a light and not as warm as you'd expect kind of yarn, because it's cotton, basically I decided to do a t-shirt, and I found a free pattern online, so that's what I'm following. It's mostly just knitting the 2 panels. um and I'm also working on 2 sweaters. They're also 2 free patterns. One is a bottom up kind of pattern where you need everything separately, not like this, because even though I'm making a t-shirt and I'm going to separate for the front and the back, I'm still knitting in a round for the first couple of rounds. The one sweater I'm making, it's like the type of sweaters where you make the back panel, the front panel, and then you just sew everything together. And I'm also knitting a raglan sweater, also a free pattern. And I'm mostly knitting them because I want to learn new techniques. I want to get better at knitting before I jump into the paid patterns, because I haven't been knitting for that much time. I only started knitting this year, actually. So I'm not familiar with the majority of terms and or techniques, and I just want to experiment before I jump into the Wednesday sweater by Petite Knits, because I fell completely in love with that one. I wasn't actually going to start knitting like full garments. um I was only planning on making like gloves and, smaller things. Uh, Maybe also a scarf or something like that, something easy. But I saw the Wednesday sweater and I fell in love. And I bought the pattern and I wanted to start working on it. And even though I had watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to knit sweaters, none of them included a trapeze kind of like sweater. And I also couldn't find any YouTube video explaining how to make a trapeze kind of sweater. And in case you have absolutely no idea of what I'm talking about, a trapeze kind of sweater is basically where you knit the mid back panel, then the shoulders, and then a part of the front panel. It's super easy, super weird. I never seen anything like that. And I was just so confused, and I was devastated because I wanted to start working on a Wednesday sweater, and I came across that, and I had no idea how to do that, and I froze. So I decided to start on with easier projects. So I went on with these 3 free patterns just so I can get, both used to a couple of techniques like raglan increases. I must say that after frogging my project 2 times, I'm actually quite good at them now. I'm able to do raglan increases without leaving holes in a project, which I'm super proud of myself for. I still suck at German chart rows. I have no idea how you make German chart rows without leaving huge holes in your project. If someone knows a trick or knows of a good video about it, please send it to me, because like if I showed you my project how it was before I frogged it, because I had to frog it, like it was full of holes. I wasn't going to wear a sweater like that. But if I had showed you before, you'd you'd give me a pat on the back and you'd tell me, give up on knitting, darling. It's not for you. It was not a good attempt. And it wasn't my first attempt as well, I must say. It was actually my second attempt at German chart rows. And for some reason, the first try was actually better than the second one, because on the first try, I managed to not have any holes in my German chart rows. Like, my collar was nice and neat. I have no idea how I did it, because I've tried recreating that afterwards, and I didn't succeed. Let's leave it at that. So yeah, if you have any tips on how to make good German chart rows without holes, please do let me know. Because I really want to try doing a raglan sweater with German chart rows again, because the one I'm working on right now, I didn't do the fitted collar. I gave up. I decided to go with 2 panels of the same size. My neck will probably be killing me, but if I choke, at least at least I was choked to death by something I loved and made. So yeah, I wanted to give it another try. And I also really want to try the Wednesday sweater. I'm obsessed with it. I need someone to send me a video on how you actually do like a trapeze kind of sweater, because I want to learn the nitty-gritty before I jump into the pattern myself. And I need you to explain it to me in English, and I need you to explain it to me as if I were a child, because that's how I learn things. Actually, I feel like that's how everyone learns things better, isn't it? Like, when you teach a child, you're not have that preconceived idea that this other person should already know what you're teaching them. At least that's what, like, the kind of energy I have from people when they're trying to teach me something. Like, in person, a lot of people, a lot of times, they have this energy of like, you should already know this. So they explain it to you in a way that low key you can kind of feel the judgment in their voice. Like, how can you not know this? But when you talk to a child and when you teach a child, you're not like that, because you have the understanding that this other person doesn't have the experience that you had. So you need to explain to them in a easier and kinder way. Or at least you should. I know a lot of people that don't. I actually had a lot of teachers that didn't. And it wasn't fun for me as a child. And I hope they retire soon, because those type of people shouldn't be around children. Anyway, those are my whips. When I'll have them ready, I have no idea. I'm actually pausing one of the sweaters that I'm making, um, the one with the separate panels, because I ran out of yarn. I bought the yarn way back before I gained weight, so I'm missing a few skeins. Uh, I gained 20 kilos in the past year, so definitely a lot, and it definitely has an impact on the clothes that I wear and the clothes that I'm making. So I need more yarn, and I'm waiting for Wool Warehouse to have more sale. I'm waiting for them to have a sale on yarn, because I bought it on sale and it was just much cheaper, and I need a discount. Please give me the discount, Wool Warehouse, please. So even though I say it's a whip, it's actually not a whip, because it will be on standby for now. So not entirely sure what to call it, but as for what I'm reading at the moment, I'm currently reading Caraval by Stephanie something. I'm actually quite enjoying it. I'm surprised, because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, just because I was a bit disappointed with the first book. But maybe that's why I'm liking the second book so much, because my expectations were quite low for the second book. So maybe that's why I'm liking it. My issue with the first book was it started off strong, but at the end, it didn't meet the expectations. So, I felt like the tone of the book just went from strong and has promise to letting me down. And I went into the second book not expecting too much. And so far, I'm actually really liking it. So, would I recommend it? It's like, it's not one of those books where I'm like, oh my god, you need to read it. It's amazing. But it's definitely one of those fun reads that it could be fun for a rainy day, or when you're sick at home and you don't have anything else or better to read or do. So in that case, I would recommend it. But other than that, I'm probably going to read the series once and never pick it up again. It's it's good, but it's not my cup of tea. It's a 3-star review basically for me. That's what a 3-star review means for me. It means that it was enjoyable. I liked it, but I wouldn't read it again. What do star reviews mean for you guys? Because I know a lot of people, like, different people have different definitions of what a star review means or doesn't mean. Like, I've met people who said that 2-star reviews didn't actually mean that the book was bad, that it just meant that, you know, that it could be better, but it was still good. Um, which is weird for me because that's what the 3-star review means for me. So I don't know what do each star means for you guys. 5 stars means I loved it. I'm definitely going to read it again. I'm going to buy the book, get myself a copy, get it signed if possible. I love it. 4 stars means I like it. I might or might not buy the book. Oh, and I'm mentioning buying the book because usually I get my books from the library, or I get them in ebook. And I mean buying them as in the paperbacks, just because I prefer to read the paperbacks, but I don't always want to invest the amount of the paperbacks because I'm not sure if I'm going to like them or not. So I just buy the ebooks, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. I paid for the experience, but I won't have a book I hate on my shelf forever. 3 stars means it was enjoyable, but I probably won't read it again. 2 stars means I'm disappointed. I was expecting more. I won't read you again. And 1 star means I gave up reading this book. I hate it. I always give books I DNF 1 star because, that's what they deserve. But if the book is bad, but it still has something that makes me keep going, that makes me want to reach the end, then I give it a 2-star review. So if you have a different definition of what each star review means, you probably shouldn't follow my advice on books because it probably doesn't match. Like, I've also met people for who 2 meant they wanted to burn the book and, wash their eyes with holy water or something. For me, that's not what it means, but, just know what your expectations are.